Hey Vicers, Anna here. I've got T here from Cinefix because we decided to make her watch the brand new anime One Punch Man, which is a kind of interesting new anime based on a manga. But T, first off, do you watch anime?
I do not. Anna came to me and she asked me to watch this anime, and then I forgot to watch this anime, and then I did finally watch this anime. You asked me to watch the first 2 episodes. I watched the 3rd one voluntarily after watching the first 2, so that might be a little bit of an idea of what I thought about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited to hear that. You know, getting into the anime, for me, I was kind of like, this is kind of weird. I don't know what to think, but the 2nd episode sort of is where it really picked up for me.
Without really having any context for anime, I'm not super well versed in what sort of like the usual tone is or story structure. I think that the sort of like cynicism and almost like meta-ness of this and just being very self-reflexive about how animes typically go is kind of what hooked me in. It was kind of like, yeah, like this is what is going to normally happen, but this is not that anime.
Yeah, that's actually exactly what it is. It's not your typical anime because it sort of looks at them with the lens of, anime can be weird sometimes, and puts it in a strange world. T, I'm gonna have you try and explain what One Punch Man is from what you've seen.
Oh gosh. Well, based on the title, you know one thing. It's about a guy who punches at least once. But there's more to it. The first episode kind of gives us a little bit of backstory on him being a regular guy and becoming this superhero because he basically chose to be. He trains and he becomes this superhero who can knock out any foe with one single punch. One thing that I thought was kind of interesting was just how sometimes like kaiju scale monsters are just tearing down cities and it's just another day in Japan.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, another day at work. I think it's kind of focusing on the sort of malaise of being an extremely effective hero where it's almost boredom for him. He's sort of like, I'm happy to be helping people and protecting them, but I also feel like I'm not making any real difference because my heart's not in this so much. Like I really need a real fight. As episodes 2 and 3 unfold, he kind of comes across new characters who perhaps are leading him to a bigger challenge down the road, I suspect, where maybe he won't be able to defeat his foe in just one punch.
One of my favorite things is that in the very first episode, he's actually on his way to a job interview.
Right.
Clearly, he never makes it to that job interview, and it's pretty clear he doesn't seem to have a job throughout. Now, one of the really funny things is that, you know, when it starts off, he looks like a good-looking dude as far as you can tell from anime images.
He looks like a typical anime hero type.
All of his training led his hair to fall out.
Yeah, he trained so hard his hair fell out.
So he becomes this really weird-looking dude. His costume is pretty much pajamas with a blanket tacked on. To me, it sort of reminds me of the world of The Tick.
Oh, totally.
You know, obviously your hero is not quite as mental as him, but he's sort of mental in his own way because the fact that all he did was train, the fact that all he wants to do now is find someone that can fight with him well.
Yeah.
It's a very strange universe.
He didn't get like any like radioactive exposure or some crazy experiment from a scientist. He just worked out really hard for 3 years. And by the way, like he looks totally normal after all that training. He doesn't even necessarily look like some super ripped muscular superhero.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a small dorky guy, to be perfectly honest.
A bald dorky guy.
Okay, so T, what was it about episode 2 that made you go, I think I'll watch episode 3?
I think episode 2 really ramped up the sort of idea of this being almost like a satire anime. It had a lot of really great comedy, funny moments. I mean, I had some really like chuckle out loud moments.
For me, one of the best parts of the 2nd episode was the like 5 minutes of the cyborg telling his story, where even One Punch Man is getting really annoyed with it. So here on Anime Vice, we like to talk about introducing your friends to anime.
Yeah.
Do you feel like for you this was a good introduction to anime in a way?
Possibly. I mean, I have probably the most average non-anime fans acquaintanceship with anime. I've seen Miyazaki's films. I think this was kind of like a nice gateway drug for me to consider that there might be other anime things out there that I might want to check out. You know, another cool thing about this show is that it plays with the style of animation within itself, particularly during fight sequences. The style will like sometimes change and get sort of like abstract and loose, and it's just really, really visually compelling. So I think this had a lot of things that I like that are all kind of not related coming together. You know, me liking animation, me liking satire, me liking comedy, you know, like all those things came together and, you know, here we are. I think I'm a fan of this show.
That's awesome. Well, T, thanks so much for talking about One Punch Man with us.
Thanks for having me on Anime Vice.
Yeah, maybe
you know, this looks a lot like where we shoot Cinefix now. I feel like I've been here before.
No, never. Well, Vicers, don't forget to click like and subscribe, and tell us, have you seen One Punch Man? What do you think? We'll see you guys next time.